Well, hi everybody, welcome to this latest video interview for DECT Today magazine, in which we cover the subject of teamwork and collaboration. Today I'm talking with David Acton, Senior Product Manager for Unified Communications at Crestron. Now Crestron's got some great products called FlexPods, which we'll be hearing about in just a moment. But David, maybe you can start by introducing Crestron and the markets it serves to our members.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Vince. So Crestron's been around since 1972, and we really pride ourselves in being leaders of innovative technologies. And we say they kind of remove the barriers for like the 5 C's that we call them. It's connection, collaboration, communication, comfort, and control. And this is in just about every meaningful aspect of our professional and personal lives. We have solutions for both residential and commercial spaces. My focus is on unified communication solutions for the commercial enterprise. And that's where we're using some new products that are based on DECT technology.
So David, we love the look of the new Crestron FlexPods. Can you tell us more about the product and the benefits it brings to the customers?
Yeah, thanks. Really, the FlexPod system consists of 2 components. It's a wireless speaker and microphone pod and a wireless hub that ultimately delivers audio from the pods to the video conferencing application of your choice. So whether that's Teams, Zoom, Google Meet, whatever that may be. So the beauty of this solution is that you can have anywhere from 1 to 4 pods in a room. And this allows you to scale the solution from a very small space to a large conference space. But really the other big benefit is that you can move the pods around based on the layout of the room. And so one of the big changes to meeting spaces since the pandemic has been this prevalence of flexible meeting spaces in the office. And what I mean by this is that there's rooms where the layout of the tables and the chairs, they may change from week to week. So, for example, one week you may have an all-hands meeting in the room, and the following week the room is laid out as a training setup. So that's a pretty common. Those are 2 pretty common use cases for flexible meeting spaces. But really, the challenge that FlexPods serve in rooms like this is how do we make sure that everyone in the room can actually hear the conference audio well, but they can also be heard clearly by people that are on the other side, the remote participants. And that's where FlexPods really are a fantastic solution, because you have this wireless speaker and microphone that you can place close to where the people are seated. And when you change the layout, then it's super easy just to reconfigure that furniture, move the FlexPods along with it, and you have your meeting. And then kind of lastly, the other benefit with FlexPods is you give the users access to volume and mute controls locally, because it's right there next to them. So they can adjust volume, they can mute the mic if they want to have a private conversation, those type of things.
Okay, yeah. Well, clearly we'd love to know why, when you're developing products for collaboration situations, you chose DECT and not Wi-Fi or something else.
Yeah, so we really chose DECT because it's ideal for the security demands of the enterprise, especially for many of the customers that we serve. I would say the other big reasons is that DECT doesn't conflict with other common wireless devices that are in the building, things that I'm sure anyone that uses DECT is aware of, and the range is, of course, really, really impressive compared to other wireless options.
So is this Crestron's first DECT-based product?
Yeah, it is. It's our first DECT product. We're using specifically DECT ULE. And why we chose this is really for video conferencing applications. It's really a good choice because DECT, as we know, has very low audio latency. And the other thing is it's deterministic. So that's really important for the audio processing that we do for the conference room. So an example of that would be acoustic echo cancellation. If you have much latency in that process, then it really messes that up. So it needs to have low latency. And the other benefit to low latency is that it prevents these lip sync issues that you may have between the audio and the video when you're in a conference call. So those were big reasons why we chose it.
And of course, we have to know whether DECT's lived up to Crestron's expectations. And do you maybe have any thoughts on how DECT should improve and develop?
Yeah, well, given this is our first product, we've been really pleased with the performance. For all the reasons that I've mentioned previously. Because this is our first attempt, we've had our share of challenges to make it work for our specific applications, but we're getting through those, and it's really performing really, really well. We're very excited to get this into our customers' hands and get their feedback. I think they're going to be blown away as these really do solve a problem that a lot of our customers have today.
Okay, then, well, let's look at the general market a little bit more. Since the COVID pandemic, many companies have changed much of their workforce to hybrid working. How has the work environment changed for your customers in Crestron's various market sectors?
Yeah, it's been a huge shift, really in the direction of video conferencing being used in more places than ever in the office. And as well as the technology that supports the office environment, where this workforce is split between a remote and in-office employee. Pre-pandemic, there were several meeting spaces that maybe had a conference phone, and that was it. And with COVID, it really forced a lot of these rooms to have video conferencing installed, really to support that need, as well as to make sure that there's separation between people. And so those are big things that changed. And then, as I mentioned before, many of the offices have shifted to this flexible multi-purpose room concept to support the change in functionality from week to week at the office. And FlexPods really in all these use cases really solve those very, very, very well.
Well, do you think that the change to hybrid working has created new customer needs? And does hybrid working represent an opportunity for Crestron?
Definitely. Pre-COVID, remote attendees were kind of seen as an afterthought in many ways. Oh yeah, he's the one guy or two people that are joining remotely, but once this huge portion of the workforce was remote, the experience really had to flip to the remote attendee, and making that as good as possible for the remote attendee, because so many people were there and the experience was not good. So this shift really forced some great innovation, though, in a short period of time, to make this a good experience for remote attendees, and really giving everyone on the call an equal seat at the table. And what I mean by that last part is, typically people that were remote would be looking into this big conference room that has, 8 to 12, maybe more people, and they're kind of little specks on the camera. And so the technology that's evolved through this, and we've been on much of the forefront of this, is the ability to zoom in on those individual participants, put them in a tile very similar to what you would have from a remote attendee, and then everyone's kind of on a level playing field. So some really cool things that have happened as a result of this. Of course, this technology is still evolving, but fortunately, we've been on the forefront a lot of this innovation. And our systems, our flex systems, what we call them, are really designed for many different spaces and sizes and types and things like that. So.
This is all fascinating, but we can wrap up now with just one final thought. Do you think that some way down the line from the pandemic, as we really are now, do you think that hybrid working is here to stay?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's here to stay. There's some differing opinions on these. We're definitely starting to see more and more people come into the office, which I think is a really great thing, just for collaboration and just human interaction.
Yeah.
But having the flexibility to work remotely is what I kind of call the new big company benefit. It's really expected by a large portion of the workforce as a result of kind of seeing this experiment of people working remotely, and people could still be productive. It proved that we could be productive, and so I think it's definitely here to stay. And in the short time between COVID and now, really the technology for hybrid work has progressed very rapidly because out of necessity, right? And so we now have better software tools. The video conferencing applications that are out there are better for hybrid work. And so I think it's only going to be that way in the future, and it's going to get better. So it's pretty exciting.
It is indeed. Well, thanks so much for your time today, David. It's been great to feature a new company, Crestron, in DECT Today magazine and new products. And we look forward to working together with you in the future. Thanks very much.
Likewise. Thanks, Vince. Enjoyed it.